Along with knowledge comes responsibility, just as along with resources, wealth, comes responsibility. And if you're faithful with money and opportunity and skills given to you, you'll be rewarded here on the earth and as well in heaven. I noticed the wonderful parable of Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 through 19. Notice, for the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And he gave to one 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, and each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. And then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5 talents. And likewise he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and dug in the ground and hid his Lord's money. And after a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled the accounts with them. Now here's what I want you to get here, this principle from this. Notice verse 16. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and did what? Traded with them. He traded. Here's the principle. You gain by trading. You gain by trading. Think of what you do when you go to a job and work on a job. You're trading your labor, your intelligence, your skill. You're trading that for money to help you to pay your bills. They're not just blessing you with a check. You're trading something. You're trading. And may I say this to you? Everything that you buy with your time. You get ready to go to buy the car, you need 60 months of your life. You buy whatever you buy with time. That's why when you have a mortgage, say mortgage. Word mortgage means death doomed. You'll be paying until you die. Then isn't it a trick, that they want to let you get old after you done paid for your house, and then they want to reverse the mortgage, and then they know you're sick when you sign up with them. Then you lost your house and you've stripped away an inheritance to your children or whatever. At least you strip away something for them to fight over. But you gain by trading. You gain by trading. You get by giving, not by hoarding. You gain by trading. See, the hoarder, notice what the hoarder in the story did. He went and dug and put his money in a hole. It didn't increase. That's hoarding. That's hoarding. I want to give you a few practical things to help you. These are proven strategies to improve your finances. I hope you're ready. Number 1, own your own home. You will be surprised. Let me just say this to you. Rent is just as high as mortgage. You'll be surprised. We had a young lady that worked for us a few years ago, and she'd been renting an apartment for 2 years. I asked her, I said, how much have you paid in rent? She calculated $11,000. She's got ready to move out, had nothing to show for it. Just $11,000 down the drain. Own your own home. Before you can begin building wealth, you got to first become a homeowner. But that should be a priority. That ought to be your first investment so that you can start building some equity. It's extremely difficult to get ahead while you're renting. And as I said, renting is just as expensive as mortgage. So home ownership is the basis for all other financial building. You've got to be able to have something that you own. And you may as well be the piece of land where you live. So, and even if your credit is jacked up, work on a lease purchase. So you're working towards something. Here's number 2. List your financial priorities. List them. Just list them. Because when you start thinking about it, the biggest expense that you'll ever have, is that your car? Is it your house? No. You know what your biggest expense is that you'll ever have? It's your retirement. It's your retirement. It's the biggest expense you'll ever have is your retirement. And so few people prepare for that. It grieves me when we do funerals and the family barely has enough money to even bury the person. And they had no consideration for their retirement. Here's number 3, simple but profound. Live beneath your means. Live beneath your means. Put an underline up under that. Live beneath your means. Spend less than you earn, because you cannot make your money grow if you spend it all. You just can't make it grow if you spend it all. When your output exceeds your income, then your upkeep becomes your downfall. And stop using retail therapy to treat your emotional issues. I hope you guys know what that means. Stop using retail therapy to treat your emotional issues. Create a spending plan. That's a budget that is a means of really reinforcing your goals by disciplining yourself so that you can spend and invest your money more wisely. Here's number 4, cut expenses. Use your thinking to start cutting certain expenses out of your life. And one of the fastest and best way for you to make money is to cut expenses. And find somebody, you know, somebody who's real, y'all might call them cheap, I call them thrifty. But you know those folks, and learn some things. My brother and I were visiting one of our relatives in Chicago, and you know, we were at the service station, and she was out putting her gas in. My brother was putting it in for her, and he was about to put the nozzle up, and she jumped out of the car and said, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? And she came back, and she shook it. She shook the nozzle several more times, you know, just to get some extra drops of gasoline, you know. I mean, I thought that something illegal had been done, you know, when my brother was trying to put it up after he finished pumping the gas, and she stopped him because he didn't shake it to get all of the excess drops off of the nozzle. The homegirl knew something about being thrifty, you know. I mean, really. And I met a guy, and he was so thrifty, you know, he wouldn't warm his car up. He said, warming your car up is a waste of gas. He said, you get 0 miles to the gallon when you're sitting there just idling your car. So he would just crank it up and put it in gear immediately. Here's number 5. Create additional income. But don't spend the money that you save and the additional income that you create. Invest it. And when you pay off one bill, you use that additional money to pay off another bill, and then you invest additional money. And so another idea is to just increase your real estate holdings, because when you invest, it has an ability to multiply. Investing multiplies to you. Saving only adds to you. And in this economy, savings is adding very, very little to you. Very little to you. Here's number 6. Utilize free money. You like free? Utilize free money. Now, when I say that, I mean many companies, you know, will match an employee's 401k contributions dollar for dollar. Utilize it. Utilize any free money. You know, furthermore, you know, they let you deduct contributions to pension plans before taxes. You know, you don't pay the taxes on them until you retire and start drawing it. So save the money. You might die. No, then you're paying tax on something that you know, and you didn't even live to get it. So utilize free money. Here's number 7, tithe. This brings you into favor with God and sets the law of reciprocity in effect in your life. I've known sinners who weren't even saved that believed in giving 10% and did it and got blessed. That's the law of sowing and reaping. Do you know, if I took marijuana seeds and sowed them on my sanctified grounds of my home, guess what's going to come up? I'll give you a hint, it's not wheat. See, it's the law of reciprocity. You reap what you sow, not what you intended to sow. You reap what you sow. So even a godless person, so If a godly person sows bad seeds, guess what they're going to reap? And if an ungodly person sows good seeds, guess what they're going to reap? You see, that's just the law of sowing and reaping. It rains on the just as it does on the unjust. It's just a law. It's a law. Here's another one, very, very important. Number 8, pay yourself. We pay everybody else. Pay yourself. Pay yourself. Put away, work on, you might not be able to start off doing it, but work on getting to a place where you can put away at least 10% of your pay. 10% of your pay. Now that means you're going to have to discipline yourself to live off of 80%. You give 10% to the Lord, you save 10% for yourself. Have the money automatically deposited so that you don't even get tempted with it. And make saving, make investing a habit. Make it a habit in your life. Your money will eventually add up. You'll be surprised some simple things that you can do. Some folks have never had $1,000 at one time to know what to do with it. Just if you put $20 away a week, you can sacrifice your lunch to do that. And $20 a week times 50 weeks is $1,000. You see? And you just in 1 year, just with $20. Now you've been throwing that away on lottery tickets. I mean, not you. And then you all know when it gets really big, then you're going to become a bigger spender. Take more risk trying to increase things. But listen, pay yourself. Pay yourself. Pay yourself. Pay yourself. Here's number 9, get out of debt. Get out of debt. Because the rate that you're paying on your debt is going to exceed the interest that you're getting off of a bank account for surely, and off of CDs, certificates, and all of that, certificates of deposit, all of that. So get out of debt, because finance fees are going to eat up your money. Eat it up. I mean, you ought to get you an amortization schedule and pay your house off earlier. Just add a little extra to it. And you can pay down on that and save some incredible money in interest. I know the bankers are they're just about to lose their minds right now. But get out of debt. And don't borrow money for things like vacation and clothes. You don't borrow money so you can get a new pair of shoes that's on sale. Don't borrow money. You don't borrow money for those kinds of things. Those are depreciating assets. Those are bad debt. That's bad debt. Bad debt. Now, I know, like I said, this is not the kind of teaching that's going to make you shout. Here's number 10, review. You have to revisit your spending plans and your savings and all of your goals. Review that stuff monthly so that you make sure that you're on track. This helps you to gauge how you're doing. If you don't evaluate it, you can't improve it. And you don't know whether you're getting off track or which direction you're moving unless you evaluate it. So take time to review your financial goals and your progress and where you're going. Here's number 11. Insure yourself. Insure yourself. Because this protects your assets, and then you can even borrow against some insurance policies. But don't use your life insurance as an investment. You buy life insurance to provide death benefits and to provide your survivors with some immediate funds until your estate is settled. And you invest and get counsel on it. There's so many resources, and maybe before it's over, I'll share some with you. Number 12, establish an emergency fund. It's not a matter of if storms are coming. Jesus said when the storm came. And it came to the man that built his house on the rock and the man who built it on the sand. It's not a matter of if the storm is coming. It's a matter of when the storm is coming. Remember, the wise person, the prudent person, sees danger afar off. He prepares for it, and he avoids it in most cases. So establish an emergency fund, because this will help lessen the temptation to dip into your retirement savings in an emergency. Then number 13, diversify. Don't ever put all of your eggs into one basket. Somebody that you know will come up with some great investment opportunity, and you don't know enough about it to know whether it's going to do well or not. It's risky, and the things that give the highest return have the greatest risk involved in it. The older that you get, the less risk that you can afford to take. The younger that you are, you can be in high-risk things that have high yield, high return. But as you get older, you have to change some of that. But you always want to be able to diversify. If you put everything into this one entity, and if that fails, now what do you do? Number 14, delay taking Social Security, because they'll pay you more if you start drawing it later. So if you wait till you're 70 as opposed to 65, you'll get a bigger retirement check. Just keep on working, you know. You do know that 70 is the new 50. For some people. Some folks feel like they're 90 at 70. They'd be all broke down and stuff, you know. So, but you know, you take good care of yourself, you'll be surprised you'll be able to work longer. And let me say this about retiring. Please let me say this about retiring. Look in nature. You ever see birds retire? You ever see a lion retire? Have you ever seen any of God's other creatures retire? When you stop using what God gave you, now you shift and change what you do and how you do it as you age. But retirement in the sense of just being able to play golf all day, every day, and you know, sit around with crochet needles, and somebody's going to be feeding you and bringing you pills in a nursing home after a while. The best thing to ward off old age is to keep yourself active and engaged in purpose and meaning in life. The first third of life is spent learning. The next third is spent earning. The final third is spent returning. And so find somebody else to pour into, because you've got a lifetime of experience and living, and you got so much to be able to give back. God gives life for purpose. So as long as we have purpose, God will grant the life. And as long as you're committed to say, God, I'm willing to do this, and when I go, I want to be empty. I want to have poured out of this vessel. I don't want to hoard it. I want to be able to sow. And you know what you felt like when you got started in life, so reach back and help somebody else, and it blesses you even the more. So don't be in a hurry about retiring. For what? So you can just travel. You get bored. Everybody that I know who's rich, who's done that, they are bored within 6 months. They're bored. Our lives have to be given to purpose in order for us to have fulfillment. We've got to have fulfillment. And here's number 15, the last one that I'm going to share in this session. Create separate savings accounts for short-term purchases. So you don't have a dip into your main account, because you know you open up a cookie jar and you don't know how to stop. But for goals that may be met in 5 years or less, you know, set aside funds in a separate savings or money market account or U.S. Treasury bills, whatever it is that you might need, bank CDs. Set that in a different one, so that you keep things in a different way, and you don't tempt yourself to be draining things that you really want to mentally have a thing saying, don't touch this, don't touch this, don't touch this. Don't let people manipulate you. The Proverbs also teaches this as it relates to money. It says, let your giving be with discretion. That means that you don't just give money indiscriminately, and you don't give time and energy, because once you expend energy, you don't get it back. So you have to use it very, very sparingly. I hope you got something out of that. We're not finished, but we'll go deeper.
Thank you for watching Power for Living with Bishop Dale C. Bronner. Join us again next time for Power for Living, where revelation is power. Power for living.